Hi, and welcome back, folks. It's Christy Lister here with,
Sierra Madrid.
and we are ready to rock our Beyond the First Response. How are you today?
I'm good, and you?
Good. We're doing a little audible. Our guest, unfortunately, could not make it, but that's okay.
Life just flows on.
It kind of happens, right?
Yep.
And so we're just going to kind of listen to ourselves, actively listening to ourselves and engaging and have a real conversation.
Yeah.
Probably about
I,
nothing, though.
I know. Well, we'll have an active listening conversation about active not listening. No, just kidding. Active conversation. How about that? We'll just actively listen and communicate.
Absolutely. So, interestingly enough, I had a meeting at work today, and I totally was not actively listening properly. My boss says, "So, what do you think of what she said about that?" I'm like, "I
Oh.
stopped listening." Like, oh, like,
Oh, thanks for being
well,
honest.
it was going too long. I quit. I
But
disengaged.
that's a real thing. And we've talked about it, like in our meetings, for like the first help stuff. Like you can't sit there and ramble on, right? Like you have to like tell your point or be interactive or some sort. Like if somebody just sits there and talks to you, you're like, uh, okay,
And
cool.
that's yeah. And part of that I think is our nature given first responder world. You
Yeah.
you kind of disconnect yourself. Part of it is that you're just done.
Yeah.
In my
Well,
case today, I was just done.
it's going to sound terrible, but I don't think there's a single mom that could argue it's part of being a mom too. Like you have to sometimes just go, mm-hmm. I mean, there's memes about it, right? Like your kid, you're so done with them for the day, and then they ask, like, "Can I catch the house on fire?" And you're mm-hmm. Like you don't really mean it, but you're just, or you have 9,000 other things going with them
Yes.
that you just, mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and then wait, well, what did I just say? No.
I feel like, especially kids that are trying to do something they're not supposed to do,
Oh yeah.
sit there and wait until you are on the phone in the middle of a conversation, working
Mm-hmm.
in the grocery store line, wherever, when you're completely unable to actively listen
Mm-hmm.
and ask you for something that they already know you're going to say no,
But
but
they're
they
gonna
hope
catch you
that,
off guard.
yeah, they hope that you're going to be like, uh-huh,
Uh-huh. Yep.
cool. Yeah.
Mine still do it to me. Like she's she is the master at it. Like she'll notice and then but I've learned and watched and grown obviously with her growing that when she really wants me to listen, she'll go, "Mom, did you hear me? Mom, what did I say?" But when she's trying to get away with something, it's Mom, did it, and then if it doesn't happen like right away, she'll say, "But you said." Well, I say no now.
You got her tell there.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's very good. Well, are we teaching our kids to do that because we shut down for so long or disengaged? Not even so much shut down per se, but disengaged for so long because everything was just so overwhelming and we're trying to protect ourselves, trying to protect them, stress.
Yeah, and I think to some extent, like you have to, right? Because you have to protect yourself, even from your children. And it's not necessarily protect, but I mean, along those lines of, okay, I need to check out for a second and just focus on whatever I'm focusing on. But I mean, yes, there is obviously instances, I've done it, I'm sure you've done it, where you check out for way too long and it's just yeah, but I mean that's all. let's that's why we learn, and that's why it's become a part of our lives to try to active listen to everything. I mean, even just actively listening to the birds chirping outside with your morning coffee can totally change your mindset for the day too.
Absolutely. We were talking about signs earlier when we were sitting here waiting. And I think this to me, so nonverbal or paying attention. I had four cardinals out there the other day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was a female cardinal and three males. And right for another
Okay.
podcast.
I didn't know that this was mating season.
They're siblings. That's it. That's the ticket. No, but I've had a female and a male since my grandparents have died.
Wow.
A male was added after a kitten passed away, and then my friend's son just passed away,
Mm-hmm.
and
And now
all of
there's
a
another one.
sudden, this other male is there. Now, why he would come
Mm-hmm.
here, I don't know, but at the end of the day, there are four cardinals, and it was like I was in a at a zoo in the birdhouse. They were like flying around talking to each other. So I'm talking to somebody just staring out the window.
So you're listening to the birds.
Yeah. I was trying to, I'm like, what are they doing? In fact, it's a customer who I know personally, but it was a customer and we were going over something. I'm like, at the end, I'm like, hey, I got a question for you. Like, you know, cardinals, right? You know what they mean? He's like, I was like, oh God, Christy, what are you going with this? Like, I just had to share because it was the coolest thing. I
What
had
do
never
card
seen that.
do you know what it means? Did you
Yeah,
look it up?
they represent people that have passed away
Oh,
that
okay.
come and visit you.
Oh, I don't have cardinals, but I guess maybe we don't have them here.
Maybe not. You could have a cardinal cousin. I'm going to find you a cardinal cousin.
Okay. Well, I have butterflies. Like we said, the
Yeah.
butterflies.
The butterflies, exactly.
My sign is butterflies, and my sign has always been butterflies. Like we said, my grandma, I always associated butterflies with my grandma, but then after Matt passed, like it was lots of butterflies, and still there's lots of butterflies. Like we have a white one that just flies around the backyard, and it's like, oh, hi, Matt. Hi.
So, cardinals are not generally found in states west of South Dakota, Texas, or north of Arizona and Mexico. They are records of vagrant cardinals. Maybe you don't want a vagrant cardinal.
Mm,
They're trouble.
yeah.
Showing up in Utah, Nevada, and Colorado. So that's why you don't have cardinals.
Yeah, which is funny because my grandmother on my dad's side, my dad's mom, she loved cardinals and they were always on her tree. Like she had tons of cardinals. And but I mean, she wasn't from Vegas. She was from West Virginia.
Yeah, there's a
So
lot out there. There's orange cardinals, yellow cardinals.
I just remember them as a kid, like all over her house.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's cool. That's cool. But paying attention and observing and actually actively observing because we miss signs sometimes. Even, even in ourselves, we'll miss those
Yeah.
signs. And if we're slowly disengaging, we don't even realize we're doing that. Or you feel so overwhelmed and your bird's out that you're just disengaging. And then people
Mhm.
around you, your family, it's like, what's going on?
Right. And that's like we were saying, but sometimes just even when you're burnt out, taking that few seconds to active listen, it could change that burnout because that person might be telling you something that can truly help you or take the burden off of you or, whatever the case may be. It's just slowing down and going, okay. But
Right.
I mean, and we've talked plenty of times before that, just turning off your phone, setting your notifications that they turn off at a certain time. All of that is part of active listening because even if you're actively listening to the TV, you're still engaging with the people sitting with you in your living room, and watching the TV because then you can have an active conversation about what you watched.
Like about what's on TV.
Yeah. Like we're in a Shark Week right now. Like we're
Forgot about that. Last night I'm sitting there going, oh, it's Shark Week.
uh-huh.
I
It
gotta
was a
get
good one, Stu.
Are they the good ones? I gotta get on
Well,
it.
I recorded one because Ryan went to bed and I was watching but not watching because I didn't want to watch all of it, but it was like a Bermuda Triangle sharks. Like they go to the Bermuda Triangle because of like the electromagnetic field. Like some of it is so, I mean, I love Shark Week. I love Shark Week. I don't like sharks, but I love sharks, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But some of it's like so over dramatized and acted out. You're like, "Ugh, just get to the science. Like, I just want to see the science." But then like last night they did a whole thing on Makos, which are crazy. Like they're the stealthiest, like fastest ones. Like they recorded ones like jumping or like swimming 55 miles per hour and then going airbound. Like, yeah,
You're
it
not
was
getting away from that one.
no, you're dying. You, nuh-uh.
Better hope he already ate.
Yeah, uh-huh. No, they like to eat.
Yeah, that's funny. But see, even that is it can be watching those shows can help you decompress or
Right.
carry on a really good conversation and learn about somebody.
Hmm.
And sometimes even having just those conversations with them uh, can help them just whatever's bothering them. If you're
Right.
not catching it or that you are just having those conversations can just alleviate a little stress.
Yeah. And sometimes, even if it's just a conversation that doesn't alleviate stress, somebody that is struggling can go, oh, somebody listened to me. Somebody care. Like they can feel like that active listening, vocal conversation back and forth can change who they are entirety. But it can help your mindset. It can make you healthier, so to speak, because you feel that, I don't know, that sense of friendship or companionship or even just a employer employee relationship. Like it can change a lot of things.
You feel heard sometimes too.
Yes.
It was interesting. And I think it is kind of important that we're talking about this today because, like I said, sitting in that meeting, I should have taken notes on interaction.
Right.
Um, but I watch people sometimes when they're not actively listening. They're listening to respond. They
Hmm.
get knee jerky and ready to pounce instead of listen.
Right.
And what we were talking about at the time is trying to overcome this to get this loan approved. Well, I told her everything she needs to get to present it to our boss. I said, you need to present it this way, da, 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 da. And she did, except she didn't have the one piece. I go, he's going to argue with you each time if you don't have that piece of paper in his face because he's not truly listening. He's not even he's listening, but he's not hearing because he has to have everything there. Sure enough, she didn't have that one piece. He goes, well, where's that? I told you to get that. Well, I'm getting it. Well, I told you to get it. I'm like, this isn't the way you have a conversation.
Right.
And then he looks at me and he's like, so do you think we can get this approved? I said, absolutely. Because as stated, you know, we have XYZ. And he just kind of looked at me. I'm like, well, this is why I don't ask you things because I know I'm going to get it approved and have that. And magically, if it comes to you by somebody else, it's approved. You don't know it was me.
Yeah. Here you go.
Yeah. Soup it up. Dum. But that
But
can
that,
make you feel bad though.
yeah, it can make you feel, I mean, even like in the work from home, because I've worked from home pretty much since COVID started. Um, Even just conversations like through the IMs, the different IM things, how when if somebody doesn't respond, and it's really hard to read somebody's tone, obviously, right? You can't read through text, through IM, you can't read somebody's tone by their typing. And there's things that, like all caps means you're yelling, where I'm an all caps person, like because I'm so excited, like all the time. Like I will type all caps just and then I'm like, oh, I'm not yelling, I promise. But when you type like something out, when you put something out there and then nobody responds to you, like I get everybody's busy, but that is also a form of not active listening because you're not responding to your coworker's question, or even just like a joke, like something, maybe they're having a rough day and they, are like, oh, joke, 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 and then nobody responds. Like you could look back and go, man, that maybe that made them feel bad. Like even
Right.
just, I don't know, like even like a heart on a message, like if you don't have time to respond, like you're still acknowledging them, and that's part of active listening.
You don't read their texts or their IMs in their voice.
No, I know only you do.
I can't help but do that. I don't mean to.
I get it. No. And see, I'm really bad. I will read a text message. Like if you text me during work and you're not my kid or Ryan, and sometimes even Ryan, and sometimes even my kid, let's be honest. I will read a text message and I will mentally respond because I know the answer, but I'm busy. So I go back to work and I don't respond. And this literally just happened like last week. Danica's friend's mom texts and was like, "Hey, her birthday, like let's do this." And there, there's three of us in the group text. And then like 4 days went by and I'm like, shit, I didn't respond. And I was like, ha, did y'all get my mental response? Like I've talked to each one of you separately, but
So that's another form of talking that's ESP.
yeah. But I was like, oh my God. And it like I can tell when I'm going through it because I will do it to everybody and it will happen for a few days and then
Yeah.
it goes out the door. But I mean, you could text me sometimes even at 6 o'clock at night and I'll be like, oops, I didn't respond to you.
Yeah. It's hard. And it's setting those boundaries actually. And because I think being able to listen, to actively listen, being able to actively respond and assert for yourself. And
Right.
it's setting those boundaries on when and how you react or will interact. Because if
Right.
you're not able to interact, you're not going to be actively listening.
Right. And sometimes you just, I don't know. For me, sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to talk to anybody. And it has nothing, it's not like I'm angry or sad. It's just, I don't want to talk to anybody. And sometimes it is being burnt out, but when you're burnt out too, you also just don't want to have this full on engaged conversation. It's more like let me get through this and then I will give you my time.
Right. And that's being respectful to yourself
Right.
and be in reality showing them one how to treat you, but that you're respecting their time.
Right.
Because if you cannot fully engage and you just need to disconnect, and that's from family too. And yes, it sucks sometimes and it feels like it's sucking everything out of you. But everybody has to have that
Right.
alone time, decompression, because you're not gonna survive
Right.
stress free. We're not gonna survive stress free anyway, but you're not gonna survive not having an argument
Right.
or
And that's
misunderstanding.
right. And that's like my therapist tells me you have to do something to decompress every single day. And
Yeah.
it can't be like scrolling through Facebook on your phone or Instagram or any of that. It has to be something like actually good for you. So, like, read a book, take a bath, something, take a walk, like something to that extent that is for you, mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
So, there's that.
Cold showers are hard, but I've been working on it.
You wanted,
But it is.
I know it's gonna sound really weird,
Just
Christy,
take
but
it
I
from
was in
the
the shower
shower.
today and I was thinking about you as I was standing underneath the cold shower.
I have that effect. No. Yeah,
See, another reason not to record together in Texas.
I'm like, I'm gonna scream. I can do it. I can
You
do it. I
might
can do it.
just do it. Just scream, let it out.
Yeah. And I'll do it. I'm like, I can do it. I can do it. I'm like, no.
You can. It's good for
I'm
you.
getting there slowly. I'm
Even if
like,
it's just every other day.
yeah. And if I turn the water colder each time
Mhm.
until my skin is blue. I'm
I
not
just give
numb.
myself that shock. Like I'll sit there and I'll just reach behind me and crank it over and then just sit there and wait for it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Then it's coming and you
Mhm.
can't move.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. So I am trying. And I
It's
have
good.
noticed in the times for the most part in the mornings, maybe that's why my mornings, I had a cortisol test done and we were talking about this
Mhm.
and my cortisol stays pretty good. And for everybody, I'm sure you already know, but cortisol kind of is that stress hormone. And you want to wake up and it be low and you want it
Mhm.
to rise a little bit, but then come back down, kind of like ride the waves, climb the mountains, come back down, but not too high. Well, apparently, the minute that I get in the car to come home, that baby is like skyrocketing.
And it has and it for you, I mean anybody. It doesn't never necessarily mean that you don't want to go home or you're not excited to go home, but like when you leave work behind, some that can trigger stuff in your head too to go,
Yeah.
oh, but what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
Unfortunately, for my job, I don't leave work. I can't leave work behind.
Yeah.
It kind of follows me. Uh, but I think it's the fact that then I gotta, this sounds terrible and I don't mean it in the wrong ways, but then I have to like engage
Right.
with people more and sometimes and then my loved ones. So my emotions are brought into it. And
Hmm.
actually, as we're talking about this, that really, then my emotions are brought in and that brings a different kind of interacting
Right.
and active listening.
Right.
And I just don't want to sometimes because depending on the day, I've had a
Right.
really long day or I've spent hours on the phone with customers or coworkers, and
Mhm.
that's stressful enough. And then having to come home and do this and then feel bad if I'm sitting there and then do this, this, and that. And am I going to get everything done? And I just want to sit, but I don't want to talk to anybody, but I don't want to just sit. It's,
That's when you set your healthy boundaries, Christy, with yourself and your family. Like you shoot off a text to like your kid and that, and you say, hey, like it's kind of been a shit day. I'm gonna drive around for a minute with the windows down, music blasting, music down, like whatever, and then be like, and I'll be home.
yeah,
Because then you're setting that boundary of leave me alone. Like
yes,
you're
it's
setting that boundary
stretching
of,
time.
yeah, leave me alone. I mean, we just talked about this with Tim too, about how they have to take off the uniform, take
Yes.
off the badge, and find a way to decompress coming home. So like I know it's really that's one thing it's hard to do when you do work from home, right? Like
I was
you
better when I was working straight from home, though.
very like I feel like I get off work and I know it's really bad, but my desk is out. I have a house that I could literally put it in, but my kid takes up 2 rooms, so we won't go there with that one. That's a whole
Let's
nother
set
podcast.
boundaries. Let's talk
Yeah.
about stuff.
I my desk is like out in our living quarters, right? So I see it, but I still like I turn it off and I turn it down so I don't get like notifications of mail or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's I am I love being home, but I'm also like, I need to get out.
Yeah. And I
And
guess with
that,
your job, you can't really just get up and go out where I could take breaks, go for a walk
right.
because I still can answer a call when I'm
Hmm.
walking because I
Yeah,
don't
I can do
always need my computer.
that. Hmm.
Yeah. Where you're stuck.
Yeah. I mean, and we are my company is very, very good at understanding boundaries of working from home and that sometimes you do need to just get up and walk away because it's not like it's a high stress job. It's a very organizational job. It's a very meticulous, like piece by piece by piece by piece job. Um, and it's for some people and it's not for some people. But I know like uh, Matt Steph gave me the fact of for me to go, I'm done. I'm not talking to you right now. I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
And I do that. But then it's the end of the day when I'm done, like, all right, what do I do? Like look around the house like, oh, what do I do? Because, like you get up and you walk around and you restart the dryer, or you start the dishwasher. So you don't have all those things that you do when you get home.
I was
Like
going to say that's the benefit of working from home. You can do
there
all
is.
that, in a couple minutes, get up, go to the bathroom, grab water, run the dishwasher, switch your laundry, and then you're free to do nothing at night.
And see, I am a busy person. I and not avoidance busy, but I'm just like I was in my pajamas yesterday at 7:30 and Ryan was like, "It's pajama time already?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's 8:30." And he's like, "It's 7:30." I'm all, "Oh.
Oh,
Well, what am I gonna do now?" Like I felt like I just wasted a whole hour
yeah.
like
You're
but
like,
I because yeah, I'm just
you
I don't
start
know.
work super early.
I do. I start work at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I start super early here, which is great because then, during the summer, we don't get dark until 9 o'clock and I have all afternoon. But I just I don't know. Like I
I get
I
it.
don't know. There's some kind of structure that I like there, but I'm okay to go outside of it, if you know what I mean. Like it doesn't freak me out, but
So the comfort of structure,
yes.
so much structure that you are uncomfortable trying something new.
To an extent. I mean, I would be uncomfortable if they were like, go work in the library today. I'd be like, ooh.
Well, what if you took this handle that was flying off a crane into the water? Would you be uncomfortable trying that?
Yeah, mhm. But I would have so much fun.
It would be. Yeah. So we were sharing, well, Ciara shared it with me, a Reels video. I'm like, that might be fun. That could
Oh,
be
yeah,
fun.
that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So try
Other things
something
might
new.
happen.
You're right. Who needs that appendage?
Yeah.
But those are ways to get yourself rejuvenated
Hmm.
to be able to actively listen. Because when we're not rejuvenating ourselves, we're not getting up, moving, taking care of that, getting our system moving, we're stuck and we're frozen. And in order to prevent that, get up and walk around, because then you can actively be listening and actively be there for your family, your friends, your coworkers, but most importantly, for yourself.
Right. And I do, like, I've started, as you probably saw on Facebook, I posted on Instagram and then I went to Facebook about my running, my little running thing I've started to do. So I've been like taking my break and like running, which is super funny because I've never been a runner, but then I had I don't even know what to call it, just the negative around me running and being made fun of and the way I look running. So I didn't do it for so long. And now I love it. But my body is sore in like so many different ways than it ever has been. Like I walked all those miles with Joe last year and I was sore, but like running makes you a whole different level of sore. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I didn't know I had muscles there.
Yeah. Okay. Why does my hip hurt here where it's never hurt there before?
Well, it's because you're 40.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I know. 2 weeks in.
Yeah. I'm not a runner either. I won't even run after a beer truck.
If
I've
a
run
margarita truck, I'd run
right.
after.
No. They'd have to just I'll grab it when they come back around, because I don't know why. I softball and soccer, which soccer there's a lot of running.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't like running.
I can't sit here and say like I like it, or I can't sit here and say I love it. I like it. I've already, because my structure and my planning, I'm already like, okay, this year on the short days, when I'm doing the trek with Joe, I will run my short days and walk my long days. Okay, cool. Like I already have it planned out because
Yeah.
and I have like this app that is very encouraging. So if you are wanting to get into running, you, Christy, or anybody listening, it's called C2, hold on, I don't want to misspeak. C2 5K, and it stands for Couch to 5K.
Yeah.
And it's motivational. I mean, she's like, "Yeah, you got it." I'm like, "Yeah, I got it." Well, I'm running with my dogs and running down the street, but like it, and you don't run every single day, and it's. Brian was like, "You ran?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I only ran for 60 seconds, and then I walked for 90, and then I ran for 60, and then I walked for 90." But I've noticed it's been really good for my brain. Like, it's a
Yes.
different reset.
I was going to say it's resetting your brain, it's recircuiting your feelings because you're
Hmm.
moving in a different way.
Hmm.
It's when whatever exercise you do, you plateau.
Right.
So then you're doing something a little different. And your body's like, hey, hey,
Yeah.
I'm back.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Awesome. But it's hard to get back to that.
Hmm.
And
Oh yeah.
especially when your cortisol is
Sky high.
high at night. Apparently, if you have high cortisol at night, that's affecting your sleep.
Really? I didn't know
Yes.
that.
I know. Well, either did I until yesterday when I got my results.
Mhm.
Fun. I'm like, yeah,
So, what does your doctor say to do at night then?
fine routine, but I do have a routine. I try not to be on my phone in when I get in bed. I like to have the TV on as I'm getting ready
Mhm.
for bed. More so noise than really watching. Um, I try not to have the phone on. And then I put on an app that I have some meditation,
Mm.
but and she's like, you should start meditating. I'm like, I'm trying.
I've
Like
been trying for 5 years.
I've been trying for 50 years. But I'll fall asleep in the middle of the meditation, which is perfectly fine, but I'm not staying asleep. And it's because that cortisol level is,
Mhm.
swimming around going, hey, 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 you're asleep, wake up.
So, and I know like there's studies that have gone back and forth of like working out before sleeping, but like would like a walk,
I
like in
get more energy when I work out at night.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I,
Even
I
just like a walk, like a casual walk.
sometimes, yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, that won't
Yeah.
help you then.
Sometimes they relax. Well, so when I was in Washington, DC, that that casual 25-mile day, I slept pretty well at night.
I bet you did.
That was like the first time in a hotel I think I slept well. Yeah. But no, I don't know why it gives me energy. It gets me excited because I feel good.
Right.
And then my body's like, could go do a couple of things. That's my ADHD. You can get up and do something. Go do it. Don't forget about
Then
it.
you need to set that healthy boundary with you and say, okay, I'm going to take 15 minutes and I'm going to go walk. And that's when you should like listen to your meditation.
I know. I'm trying
And
to listen
and
to
then
stuff during work.
okay.
And I'm like, but I might fall asleep.
Well, stay sitting up. Don't put your head down on your desk.
Yeah, I've done that. No, I'm just kidding.
Just kidding.
It's happened. Not recently. Can you actively listen to yourself, do you think?
Yes, absolutely.
How do you think that looks?
That looks like you having the conversation with yourself about something that you need and then you following through with what you need.
I just told is I was Googling it when I asked that question. And the first sentence is when you're having a conversation with yourself, try to really hear everything you're saying and understand your own perspective. This can help you to gain a deeper understanding of your thoughts and feelings. So then our internal imposter, our internal bully, whatever we choose to call it, do you think that stops us from hearing ourselves?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And instead of when our body's telling us, hey, get up and go walk,
Mhm.
it's saying, just stay here one more time.
Yeah.
Hit
Oh
me,
yeah.
baby, one more time. Take it like a champ.
No, because I mean, you're your own worst enemy,
Right.
or you can be your own best friend, or you can be both at the same time. It's all what you choose to do for yourself.
So, in order to actively listen, we need to learn to actively listen to ourselves and
Mhm.
understand our perspective, which sometimes we're not going to, when we're going through something and trying to uncover what we're really feeling, because if we haven't allowed ourselves to feel,
Mhm.
we shut down, we act out. It could be drugs, alcohol, cheating, spending, whatever that looks like. That's our way of covering up feelings that we don't want to hear and we don't want to understand because it's just easier not to.
Right.
And if we
Because it,
can set that boundary and remove that,
mhm.
that's true. It's an amazing thing that could happen. And that will then in turn teach our families that you can do it
Mhm.
by watching us do it and change their lives. And hopefully they can actively listen to
Right.
themselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially teenagers, right? They don't listen to anything actively or non-actively. They just don't listen. But if you also like set the boundary of we're going to have an active listening conversation, even if it starts with, no phones at the dinner table, because that is a rule in my house. There is no cell phones at the dinner table. I
Yes.
mean, even I will get caught by Ryan and I'll be right in the middle of like doing something that if I don't remember to do it right there, like I won't remember to do it because my phone goes to sleep, after so many minutes. But he'll be like, phone, hello. oh yeah, I made this rule. Like I need to follow it.
That's healthy
Um,
communication. Thank you, Ryan.
yeah. Thank you, Ryan. But that is teaching them a form of active listening because we were raised, right, sitting around a dinner table, and that's when you find out how everybody's day was. That's those days have left a lot of homes, most homes, right? Because we're busy. Understandably, we're very busy. Once Dance gets in, Danica's not home Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. Like she's not home. She gets home from school, she goes to dance, and then we don't see her again until 8 o'clock at night. But the nights that we do have, there's no phones at the dinner table, so we can sit down and we can talk about the day or the weekend or what's bothering them. Or I just don't feel like talking tonight because that's okay too. That's a form of active listening because if they say, I don't feel like talking tonight, let's just sit here and eat our dinner together. And you respect that, you're actively listening to their feelings.
So I want to just acknowledge wording it that way. I don't feel like talking tonight. Can we just sit here together and eat our dinner? Right there tells me, okay, so you need to decompress.
Mhm.
Or you had a rough day. Here's your moment. Thank you for still being, you're interacting with us by being here. That's huge.
Yeah, because you have to do that sometimes. I mean, nobody is going to have a perfect day every day, right? You're going
Mm.
to have shit days, you're going to have amazing days, and then you're going to have shit days. Like,
And that's okay because
yeah,
that's part of life.
right. So, but if you can actively say, I want to be here with you guys, I want to be present, I want to be at this table, or, what, even in the car driving to dinner, like, I want to do this, but we just need to take a moment of silence. Like, that's you're setting your healthy boundaries, you're expressing to your family, loved ones, children, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, that you acknowledge they're there, you thank them for being there, but you're also saying, I just need this time with your presence.
Yes. I'm trying to look up as we're talking. Do you eat in silence?
um Sometimes, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. Sometimes we have the TV on, and it never used to be like that. My old house, like the TV was across the living room. Like you couldn't see the TV, but like this house, everything kind of rolls together. So sometimes the TV's on, sometimes it's off. I mean, I have a teenager, so there's not always silence. Sometimes they're snacking their food, but
Yeah, and so I struggle with not having noise, especially when people are eating. That's what I was trying to get at. Sorry, I was like a little slow on that because I'm the word misophonia. Basically, it's you just can't stand hearing people eat. Uh, It's a it's a brain-based disorder. Shocking.
it doesn't bother me. I don't like the smacking, but
No.
I could sit there and like eat and be just fine. I'm just talking like that.
Yeah, but
I
if
can do
I
that.
hear even like a chip in my mouth sometimes, I'm like, oh my God, who's that eating? Oh, that's me. That's disgusting.
Oh my gosh,
But
I
it's interesting. So actually it has gotten somewhat better. And I'm only gonna read this because you know that I got the stellate ganglion block.
mhm.
So it says, and so that resets your fight or flight, what that does. And this says, is misophonia a mental illness? Now, again, we all have mental struggles, and our brains teach us, coping, good, bad, or indifferent. That's where we relearn, right? So, a breakthrough study has found that misophonia is a brain based disorder. Researchers point to disruption in the connectivity in parts of the brain that process both sound stimulation and the fight or flight response. So then now I'm curious. This is where I go down the rabbit hole because what happened to me at the dinner table that now I just want to run.
But like there's so many things in life, especially that happen when we're children, that can be a traumatic event, quote unquote,
Right.
that will manifest to something that has nothing to do with eating at the dinner table
Right.
or this or that or this or that or this or that. Like there's so many studies out there that have taken, like this type of trauma now presents itself like this. And so who knows? Like it could have been you stepped on a nail and got a shot and you don't like people eating now.
But I
Like
don't like people eating. I don't like the
like
smell.
yeah, you just like it you have no idea. It just
Yeah.
is.
But
I'm
it's
just
interesting, the fight or flight, because I've never
mhm,
honestly looked at that before, but our conversation got me thinking that. And because sitting in silent and being able to articulate that at the table,
mhm,
that's a huge communication skill that we all, at least in this house, are working on, right? Because well, if I even get the kids to sit down with me anymore,
mhm,
but fight or flight, it's a trigger. And
mhm.
maybe that's because I struggled with PTSD and my fight or flight was always so much like, hello, Captain, here
Right,
we are, and we're not going anywhere, that instantly put me into that.
right,
And it was, a reason to not sit at the table.
right. And
Interesting. Our
yeah,
lesson for the day.
yeah. And now you can use that knowledge and take it with you and grow from it.
That's right. But it is a lot better since, I mean, it's not gone. There's still certain days, but now that I think about it, it doesn't really bother me unless I'm on a high stress day where I've had a trigger.
Yeah.
And I've known I had that trigger, but now I know potentially that this is part of that.
Right. It's just connecting your dots and figuring
Yes.
out where your puzzle piece lays that day. And every day is different.
Yeah, it is. And that's okay. I mean, it's exciting to learn.
Right.
And if we know what our triggers are, we learn as we heal, we learn our triggers. That's actively listening to yourself then,
Hmm.
because you're
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
recognizing your triggers.
And you're setting your boundary within yourself.
What a great conversation today.
Yes. We listened, we learned, and we grew.
Yes. Understood our own perspective
Yes.
in a deeper way that now we can take that and teach our kids, our family, our coworkers,
Hmm.
and enjoy life.
Yeah.
The good, bad, or indifferent.
Hmm.
Life is good. There's always something to be grateful for.
Hmm.
Recognize the good, even in the days that we feel like we can't. That's when you find a way to laugh or cry
Right.
it out.
Or
Okay.
just stop and listen to the birds.
Yes, absolutely. And eat at that table
Hmm.
in silence.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I'm excited.
I am. I'm always excited. So,
Yes. Love learning, love listening. And it's a continuous thing of communication for us to through and understand.
mhm. Yeah, it's all part of growing
Yes. What's
and
one
never
thing,
ever stop growing.
right? No, says
No.
my clothes.
Same, same.
What's one thing that you can try to actively listen to yourself in doing something different than your routine schedule?
You want me to get out of my schedule?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's such rude.
Um, listen to myself and go to bed when I need to. Like instead of trying to stay up. I don't I just and that will in turn put me back into the schedule that I love the most, like getting up earlier and going to the gym earlier. Even if I don't go to the gym, even if I'm running earlier, like at walking, whatever. That would be so healthy for me to listen to myself at nighttime when I should really be going to bed.
Yeah, yes, it would. And I think for me, I will speak that, make sure that when I don't want to talk or need to not talk, that I will speak that. It's not that I don't want to be with you right now. I just don't want to talk
Mhm. And it's okay not to talk.
instead of not ignore, but I'm going to verbalize the explanation.
Hmm.
And that's
Well,
okay.
And even if you don't have the explanation right then, Christy, you could still say, I'm not going to talk. I right now is not the time. Let's just sit here, woo-saw, and then later we can have this active conversation. That's okay too.
Yes. All right. We have our challenges for the week. Ladies and gentlemen, pick yours and know that it takes time to master it. So practice it every day.
Yeah.
Make it part of your normal day to step outside that comfort zone or pinpoint something that you know is hard for you to do.
Yeah. And you'll have days that fail, right? Obviously.
Absolutely.
And that's okay. It's just is continuing to keep trying.
And failure is where growth comes from.
Yes. Mistakes is where you grow.
Yes. Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day.
We are excited to be able to start our day with Badge Brew Coffee. Hey, Robin, did you know that Badge Brew has a new charitable badge collab roast?
Hey, Christy, I thought I heard that was going to happen.
Yeah, it's called First Response Roast with a spicy, smooth, medium roast with flavor notes of spice cake and citrus undertone.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And if that doesn't tempt our audience, a portion of the proceeds go to First Help. Oh, and don't forget, they're first responder family owned. Whether you're on day shift, night shift, or the shift of raising your family, Badge Brew has your coffee ready and waiting.
So let me ask you, what's your badge of honor? Find out by going to badgebrewcoffee.com and order yours. If you want the first response roast, click on Charitable Badge Collab. I know I am.